Have you ever had it where everything in the external world seems like it's working against you, and you have something that you want to follow? You have something that you want to do, yet it almost seems like everything around you is pointing to the fact that you shouldn't follow that thing, that you shouldn't trust in your intuition. You shouldn't trust in your heart. Everything around you seems like it's working against you, but even with those things, your heart still says, it's a good idea to follow that thing. It's a good idea to trust your heart, even though the logic may not be there. Oftentimes, when there's chaos happening and everything in the external world is pointing to the fact that it's not a good idea to follow your heart, usually, in my experience, that's the moment to follow your heart. That's the moment to step into your power. That's the moment to live into that vision that you know is meant for you. And in this video, I'm going to be sharing with you how to follow your heart even when there's chaos happening around you. Even when everything in the external seems like it's telling you to not follow your heart. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is to hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, because I do post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. So following your heart, in my experience and the way that I live my life, is one of the most critical things that you can do for yourself and also humanity. I believe that following your heart is one of the most powerful things that you can do for your life and also the people around you. Even though it might seem like it's not benefiting the people around you temporarily, I believe that following your heart is one of the most beneficial things that you can do for the entire planet. Because logic may tell you to do one thing, and in this video, this is going to be a little bit more of a non-logical video. I just want to share that with you right now. You see, logic is great. We need logic. Logic is one of the most important things in life. But a lot of people don't actually use their logic to their full potential, but they're consumed by fear. And so far in my life, based on what I've experienced, a lot of the best decisions that I've ever made have been completely non-logical. I didn't have a plan. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where that intuition was going to take me. And I'm not telling you to make that choice. I'm not saying to be illogical like I was. I'm saying to just consider my experience and consider the experience of the people that you look up to, and ask yourself, if we only listen to logic, would every single human being be where they want to be? If you just listen to logic, if you just listen to how much money you make, if you just listen to, you only look at things logistically, you only use your logic, is that going to lead to your dream life? Is that going to lead to the life that you truly want to live if you just think about the logic? Or is there something deeper that guides our actions? Is there something deeper within us that can lead us down to the path that we are truly meant to be on? I believe that we have an internal guidance system called the heart. And sometimes there can be external things like synchronicities to show us that we're in alignment. But that synchronicity is just in affirmation. It's almost like it's affirming to you why you're on the right path and you are listening to your heart. You see, based on my experience, when I actually follow my heart, I see more synchronicity. And earlier on my journey, I used to think that the synchronicity was guiding me. And I think that there is a lot of deeper things in this universe that our ego can never understand. Our logic will never understand. And I'm with you there if you think those things too. But at the same time, it's not those things that are guiding us. They are, but at a much deeper level. Your heart is guiding you. Your heart is guiding you. the ultimate guidance system is your heart. Now, this is going to sound illogical, and I'm not saying to drop logic. I'm saying to still use logic. But oftentimes, and you comment down below if you've experienced this before. Like, leave it, like if you've experienced what I'm about to share with you in a moment, leave a comment down below. Have you ever experienced it where everything in the external, just like I said in the beginning of the video, is literally telling you why it's not a good idea, but then you follow your heart, you do the illogical thing, and then you somehow have it in you and you figure out something. You figure out how to create a solution to that problem. You figure out how to fix that thing that people judged you for. And that's what following your heart does. It's not about letting go of logic. It's about using your logic to the point where you don't let it consume you, but you still take that next logical step. But the guide is your heart. The guide is your heart. If you let the guide be the heart and the mind be the servant, so like not in the sense that you're abusing the mind or anything like that, but you're in control of the mind. You let love guide you, not fear. And that can sound cliche. I know how that sounds. Like let love guide you, not fear. But here's the thing to consider. Do you really think, and I'm going to ask you this question one more time. Do you think that if we just follow our logic, that is going to lead to your dream life? Now, I'm not telling you what to do because you're responsible for your actions. And I want you to choose the path that feels right to you. But again, following your heart, in my experience, always leads to what feels right in our soul. What feels right in our hearts is the most important thing to me and how I live my life, at least. Okay, I'm not here to tell anybody how to live their life, but I'm just here to be a guide and to say that in my experience, following my heart always leads to more joy. And even more money sometimes too, at least in my experience, maybe not for every person, but more money, more joy, more happiness. And following your heart doesn't have to be at the expense of others. Sometimes it can seem like that, but the truth is that following your heart will be the most beneficial thing that you can do. So how do you actually follow your heart in the midst of chaos? Well, here's the answer. What you do is you realize that what's the alternative? That's what you realize. Is the alternative to live a lie? Is the alternative to let the chaos take over? Because what I've noticed in my experience, it's almost like these external things happening, telling you that it's not time to follow your heart. It's almost like a universal test. It's almost like the universe is saying, can this person, can Francis really trust his heart even in the midst of chaos? View it as like a little test. And understand that in the moments of chaos, it's just the external world trying to make you live a life that's not yours. Not to say that you can't be compassionate to the external, not to say that you can't understand people's perspectives, but at the same time, you have to understand that following your heart is key. Following your heart is the most important thing, even when there's lots of chaos happening. I would say, in my experience, again, not telling you what to do, especially when there's chaos happening, that is the time to follow your heart. And don't do it because I told you. Feel into your heart space. Does that feel right to you? Do you think that this chaos happening in your life right now is happening by accident? Do you think that it's a coincidence when chaos happens, we usually have a calling to do something that doesn't make logical sense, and that happens over and over and over and over, and that's a reoccurring theme in people's lives that create a lot of success for themselves and live their dream life and align with the reality that they prefer to live? Do you think that's a coincidence? I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that our egos can't understand what the bigger picture is. I think that our hearts are guiding us to something much more powerful than our minds could possibly understand. And that if we follow that despite the chaos that's happening, we follow that especially when the chaos is happening. Once again, not telling you what to do, you feel into your heart. I think that if we do that on a moment-to-moment basis, I think that if we follow our hearts on a moment-to-moment basis, you will be in alignment with the life that you're truly meant to live. You will be in alignment with what I call the win-win dynamic. That's what's happening right now when you follow your heart, is the win-win dynamic. Now, the key to follow your heart when chaos is happening is to understand that you want to live a life for you. You want to serve the planet, but you can't do that unless you serve yourself. You can't serve the planet unless you serve yourself, okay? You cannot serve the planet unless you serve yourself. So understand that if there's chaos happening in your world right now, if everything around you seems like you shouldn't be following your heart, ask yourself, is this happening for a reason? Would it just be so, like, of course our minds think, okay, no, I have to follow my heart. It's gonna happen this way. It's gonna happen this way. It's gonna happen that way. Here's the logical steps. Do you think that's what following your heart is? Is an A to B to C logical linear process that makes total sense to your mind? Or do you think that maybe this chaos is happening for a reason, to teach you that even when the chaos is happening, now is the time to have deeper levels of trust that you've never had before? I experienced this when I dropped out of school. I experienced this when I decided to hire a mentor and do what felt in alignment to me. Start to invest more money than I was comfortable investing. And what happened was I had to trust my heart. And even now there's certain things happening in my life, always will. It's not like you follow your heart, then you get to the destination. That's not how this process works. You have to follow your heart always. And when you finally think that you've made it somewhere, it's like, we finally made it. I can be logical now. The universe will yet again give you the next scenario to follow your heart. And that's the journey of life. And the more that we follow this journey of life, the more we live into our hearts, I think that we're gonna get closer and closer and closer to the win-win dynamic. And the more that you do this, you're also gonna start to realize that there's a recurring pattern where following your heart is usually something that the universe is gonna call you to do, especially when there's chaos happening. And it won't make sense to your mind, but I believe that if we follow our heart, despite what's happening, it will lead to the life that is truly meant for you. So that's all I have for this video. Once again, if you want to work with me one-on-one personally, hit the link that's in the description box of this video to apply for a free consultation. As always, have yourself a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.